Hey guys, welcome back to Lunatic Astrology. I'm your astrologer, Lori Luthy, and today we're talking about October. We're doing all signs. I'm going to talk about how all the energy that's been so stuck, if you felt like you're walking through a bog or you're walking backwards, or you're not even walking at all, that's because we've been going through 4 planets in retrograde motion for quite a while now. And this is the month that 4 of these babies, all of them, go into direct motion. What does that mean? It means that that stuck, stagnant, quagmire feeling is going to break off and break away. And it's going to happen incrementally, October 2, October 10th, and then October 18th. So we'll get to the details of that when these planets go into forward motion. Yay, unstuck at last. Second of all, I'm going to also talk about Venus being out of bounds this month. And that can be crazy, wild money and unloved stories going crazy, wild directions that you didn't expect coming. I mean, out of bounds. She's like, no rules, no referees, no one's containing the goddess of love and money. And last, she's a benefic. So when she's out of bounds, it's not that bad. And also we're going to talk about this month, the fact that there's a couple sweet spots and some difficult spots. The end of the month near Halloween, there's some really good Venusian and Jupiterian energy happening. We're going to talk about what you can do with that energy. And also there's this Mars going into the heart of the sun, or we call GEMINI. He's dying, guys, to be reborn again. He's been invisible now since about the 3rd week of August, as he's close to the sun, invisible to our eyes, and he's going to be birthed into the new version of himself. Okay, he's coming back to life on the other side of this GEMINI as a newly born baby Mars with a fresh start. So he's an old Mars. He's a wise, cobbled, old, tired Mars right now. He rebirths on October 7th in the heart of the sun as his new identity, and he does that rebirthing in the sign of Libra, which is a sign of his detriment. So that's interesting. He does rise, however, in the sign of Scorpio, which is a little bit better. He also is going to be, during this time, October 7th, quite intensely close to the sun for a few days from October 5th to 10th. What is that going to mean in your life? Well, with Mars completely dying in the heart of the sun, things that requires Mars action, you know, what are things like choices, decisions, momentum, you know, winning a battle, winning a deal, winning a conflict, you know, getting athletic, getting in shape, being Mars-like. These things are really, really inhibited during his invisibility, but more so even when he's in the heart of the sun. And that's one of the reasons why I'm thinking, by the way, this pandemic might ebb, because his final nail in the coffin, death energy of dying in the heart of the sun, closes out a 2-year window of time that began in October of 2019, when he died and came alive again and then was rising against the star Corvus. And Corvus is a malefic star. And just so you know, in Babylonian astrology, Mars is the emissary of Nergal, and Nergal is a god of pandemics and plagues as well as war. So I think we're closing out the pandemic, despite everyone's panic about Delta, pandemic, October 7th, you know, ish. And then we're going to see that whole damn thing, I believe, wane and ebb. That's my hope anyway. So let's get going and do the all signs. And before I begin, I'm not going to be sharing the screen with you. I think this time I'm going to just talk to you. I want you to remember that your rising sign is probably your best, most accurate way to take these kinds of predictive astrology charts into consideration. I'm a Hellenistic whole sign astrologer, FYI. And I always say, cast your chart in whole sign houses and be dazzled and amazed by who you really are. And second of all, your moon and your sun can be used as well. Now, your moon is probably more accurate as an interpretive tool, like to listen to the moon sign forecast if you're born at night, because that's your sect light. And if you're born when the sun is above the horizon line, therefore the day or the eastern horizon of the descendant ascendant axis, then you probably will get a lot from your sun. Okay, so keep that in mind. I use my sun sign always and moon because they're both in Aries. And then of course my Aquarius rising. So I only get to listen to 2 signs. But anyway, so just keep that in mind. Lastly, check my description box below for whatever I have going on. Sometimes I have sales. Right now I have my money code reading that I really enjoy doing. I just created it. I'll put the money code reading in the description box. If you want to check the money code class that I ran a couple of weeks ago, 2 hours of content plus a 20 plus PDF document, helping you to find the prosperity promise in your natal chart. Best to take it if you know like a modicum of astrology. It's now for a replay sale and $19 in the description box below. All right, let's get going. So October 2021. Whoa, what a month of finally feeling like we're moving forward. Let's do the all signs version. Now, if you are, I'm going to start with classical Aries, because you know what, lately I've been, and I'm not showing the chart, it's just too much work. If you've been feeling Aries, like you've been missed by me in terms of starting with you on all of my monthly moons and stuff, you're absolutely right. So you get the first go, guys. I'm going to give a bow to Aries again. So give me a second while I get Aries up on my chart. Of course, I'm looking at it so that I can talk about it with you. Give me a minute. There we go, Aries. All right. So let's start out. I'm only going to cover highlights. I'm not going to be here for 1,000 years to talk about every minuscule transit. So we're talking about the big broad brushstrokes. So Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. So for you guys, you know, one of the things I'd say first off about the month, since you're Mars rule, Mars is the lord of the Aries sun or the Aries ascendant. When Mars is doing something, it matters to you more than it matters to the everyday Joe, who does not necessarily have Mars as an important planet. So certainly Scorpios as well. And one of the things that this is going to mean for you is that Mars's invisibility has probably felt very difficult. You probably felt like me with planets in Aries, that since he went into invisibility around August 23rd, and he's still slugging to his death, and he's an old man walking toward the sun, you may feel like me. A lot of things feel really hard to get done. Motivation is low. Your drive and your action power and your will to get things done, or even just willpower to achieve what you want, even like me, to not drink any wine or to do that cleanse, has been really, really lacking. As this really old decrepit Mars gets ready to go into the heart of the sun and come out the other side October 7th and rebirth himself, it's very possible that what we're going to start to feel, you Aries, me Aries people, is some momentum at last. Now, particularly, of course, when he becomes visible at the end of November, but just coming onto the other side of that cazimi is important. I prescribe for you, Aries, to actually pay attention to the October 7th death and rebirth of your Lord of your sun or your moon or your ascendant, because you might want to do a little ceremony and a little intention setting and a little connection with this part of you that represents where you have action, drive, passion, and will to do things in life, and see if you can't also maybe participate in your own rebirth of those qualities of who you are. And certainly any part of you that's got the warrior aspect, you know, the noble warrior. If you've been feeling defeated lately, or you feel like you're losing instead of winning, you get to start to turn this around this month. And I can relate to some of that. I really can. Now, the next thing I want to say for you Aries folk is pay attention to the forward momentum of Saturn going direct in 6 degrees of Aquarius, followed by Jupiter and Mercury at Jupiter going direct on the 18th of October in Aquarius. So, sorry. Yeah, the 18th. So Jupiter will go direct at 22 degrees of Aquarius. And Saturn will go direct at 6 degrees of Aquarius. Now, what does this mean for you, that this stuck energy or this retrograde energy or this whatever going inward energy has not been available? It has not. It has been the energy that could be outward, finally turning around to go outward again in the 11th house of good spirit. Now, that's for you to experience great gains financially from your career. That's where you have your dreams and hopes and wishes, where friends and allies and benefactors are there to support you. It's a house of luck. It's a house of good spirit. Sometimes even financial windfalls can come through this house. So I want you to see that this area has been pretty clogged up for a while. Jupiter and Saturn have both been retrograding there. And, you know, this freedom that you're going to feel, oh, what a relief. Jupiter's been retrograde there since June the 21st. And if I know how I feel like, where's my Jupiter? He's been like, you know, asking me to go inward for sure and go backwards and go into a deeper quest of what my true hopes, dreams, and wishes are. So a lot of you Aries may have been aspiring to redesign your deepest wishes and desires and future visions for your life, as Jupiter, the greater benefic, retrograded in your 11th house all the way back since since June 21st, 2021. So you're going to have breaking free energy there on a very practical level after middle of October when Jupiter goes direct, and of course the 10th of October for Saturn. Saturn was making you work hard and slog away in his retrograde in an area of your chart that has to do with your finances from your career and aligning those with your dreams and wishes. What Saturn actually wants is legacy, you know, keyword, something that goes the distance, that will last a long time. And so in a way, I think his retrogradation for us, Aries folk in the 11th house has been going back and looking at foundations that we may have created. And if they don't, the ones we've already created aren't going to serve a legacy vibe in our chart, in our lives, where we can continually create more, build on that foundation. Saturn may have asked us to remove it and taken those things away, felt constraint around those things. I have some examples in my life for sure. I had created a course that I love teaching, coaching people how to create online businesses. And I did 2 amazing rounds of it last year, but Saturn took that away from me in its retrograde and said, it's not really in alignment with what you really want to be doing, 2 decades from now. So pay attention to where you've realigned your hopes, your dreams, your wishes, your aspirations, and your future goals, thanks to this retrograde Saturn and of course this retrograde Jupiter. Now, Mercury is going to go direct. Finally, after retrograding for 3 weeks, he'll be retrograding from September 27th to October 18th in the sign of Libra. This is an air sign. He actually doesn't mind being in an air sign. He's quite favorable to the air houses. But this backward momentum, Aries, is in your 7th house. Your 7th house of primary relationships, business connections, sometimes the audience, the marketplace, the clients. So you might have been going backwards, reassessing what people you want to be involved with in terms of long commitment, whether it's business or love. And now that he's going to go direct, he's also the god of legal contracts and agreements, possibly in the house of legal documents and signing. So quite possibly too, you may find yourself sometime around October 18th, signing some documents, legal agreements that are going to really favor you, and you'll have some breakthrough energy around that. And it can be any kind of document. If you applied for a job and you got a yes, you might be signing the agreement to take it, etc. Now, if you are single, Mercury in Libra, the sign of one-on-one partnership, going direct could incite a new love relationship for you. So some of you, particularly if your descendant is anywhere near 10 degrees of the sign of Libra, where he's stationing to go direct, then you may find, let me double check that, but I'm pretty sure it's that degree. My memory says it is. So you could find that retrogradation turnaround point could be an email, a phone call, a message, or a contact from somebody who would serve you in business or love in a significant way, and including the inciting of a new love story. So keep those areas in mind. Now, I want to talk about the Venus out of bounds part of it. Venus will be out of bounds, so out of declination from October the 9th to December the 7th. And during that time, for the month of October, she's going to be in Sagittarius while she's out of bounds. And this is like wild love, unpredictable money, crazy ass extreme possibilities around love and money and beauty and pleasure. I would not do plastic surgery, new hairstyles, or buy a new wardrobe unless you're really going to be willing to be out of bounds in terms of what the outcomes are. Get your hair done and find out that what she did, she gave you a mohawk and all you wanted was a trim. Just be cautious there a little bit. Venus out of bounds, not necessarily good for cosmetic procedures, etc., unless you're looking for something potentially unpredictable or extreme. But in Sagittarius for you guys, you Arians, this is a lovely area for you of the 9th house energy. And that 9th house energy is God, truth, soul, and wisdom, your Dharma. And, she's out of bounds there, though. And it's foreign lands and foreign shores and book publishing. It's kind of like in higher education. So wild, crazy things can happen. A love from a foreign shore, And when she's out of bounds, by the way, she's traveling through the area where the South Node is. So karmic love from a foreign shore, money, from foreign lands. She's out of bounds with the South Node, though. So you may have unexpected, crazy, wild downturns too in love and money. But that 9th house energy is just fascinating as well. And she'll be going out of bounds in Sagittarius, which is Jupiter-Sun, and he's retrograde until the month of, till the middle of the month, till the 18th of the month, when he goes direct at 22 degrees. So keeping in mind too, that Jupiter stationing at 22 and then turning around, I think Venus is going to cause more problems in terms of unpredictable wild money and love between October the 9th and the 18th, because once Jupiter goes direct, he might have more ability to tame the situation in his Sagittarius home, where he can look back at it and from Aquarius and lend a hand. All right, so those are the highlights of the month. And the last thing I want to say is that at the very end of the month, there's something I'm really liking. I mean, there's so much I can cover. I'll also say October 15th is a great day with the Sun trine Jupiter. I would say October 15th is a stroke of happy, lucky, very highly sourced good energy that's coming up. It's once every 2 years that the Sun will trine Jupiter. So you want to grab that and really have fun with it. Sun trine Jupiter could be great for lucky opportunities, and Sun will be trining on the 15th of October from Libra, and Jupiter in Aquarius. So it's about primary love relationships, and it's about business contracts and agreements, and it's about great gains from your career, and it's about your dreams, hopes, dreams, and wishes, and it has a lot of luck around it. So keep that in mind. And the very last thing I want to say is at the tail end of the month, I just find this fun. Okay, I don't know what else to say. I just find it fun that on Halloween-ish, you know, on Halloween night, October 31st, ooh, spooky Halloween, the veil is thin. Mercury is trining Jupiter. And, you know, I just like that Mercury is the messenger of the gods, but he's also the psychopomp who goes into the underworld, the land of the dead. And he's trining Jupiter, the god of Mount Olympus. What could that mean for you, Aries, at that time? Well, Jupiter is in an air sign and Mercury is in an air sign. And so it could be ideas coming from deep beneath you in the underworld of your unconscious. It could be something from the 7th house that Mercury is helping to excavate. So a news or an email or a phone call that gives you a great Jupiter opportunity to expand your dreams, hopes, and wishes, or to have great gains from your career. So happy Halloween. I love that part. Okay, moving on to Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. Now, Taurus, you know, the first thing I want to talk about for you is the Venus story, because she's the Lord of your ascendant or your sun or moon, depending on how you're listening to this. And when she is out of bounds, this is going to be a big deal for you guys in October. She's only out of bounds a couple of times a year. So this is significant. So she's going to be kind of acting like a wild child, you know. What is that song? Not something child in the city, do 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 do. Anyway, wild child and energy. So she's out of bounds October 9th to December 7th. In the month of October, she's out of bounds in the sign of Sagittarius. And that's a different flavor than her later out of bounds, okay, when she gets out of the Sagittarius corridor and moves into her Capricorn out of bounds. So let's talk about the feeling of why you need to pay attention, you Taurus, sun, moon, and ascendants, to this out of bounds in the sign of Sag. It's in a money house, guys. It's in your 8th house of finances that you have from your spouse, from inheritances, from, you know, residual income investments. And she's out of bounds. She's a bit of a wild card. I would not invest money in some risky project or endeavor or anything like that during the time she's out of bounds, because you may have unpredictable results. So October 9th onward, steer clear, and she will be in the sign of Sagittarius until November 5th. So technically stay clear of risky investments until then. That's not a good zone for you. Now, on the other hand, you know, she's a love goddess, and this is a sexual house. It's one of the sort of like sex magic, tantra, kink houses. If you're down for some wild, deep sexual connections, some kinky magic with your partner, this could be amazing. And if you want to get involved in a love story, well, she could get you involved in one. It'll be secret. A secret love affair could begin for some of you Taurians during this time. And probably secret for good reason, right? She's out of bounds. She's taboo breaking. Probably somebody's got a spouse or a partner already. So it's not a sanctioned love story. It's taboo. One of the other things is the South Node is traveling with her, of course, in that Sagittarius zone. So she encounters the energy of the South Node, which is surrender, release, and let go, loss and disappointment, sort of spiritual medicine. You know, you don't always get what you want, you get what you need. So possibly in this deep, dark, mysterious, occult house, you might have some losses around female female friends or female contacts in your life who maybe are best served to leave you during that time. Maybe they weren't good for you anyway, or maybe they kept secrets from you. And certainly, I'm going to say one thing for you guys, you Tauruses, don't, I was like, sorry, but whoa, like it's like you're going to get a secret spilled. There's no doubt about it. Like, you know, this 8th house is secrets, and Mars and Venus is out of balance with the South Node. It's almost like what thing has been held in this shallows of the South Node that's a secret that may be quite destabilizing if it's kept. You know, it has to be released. It's toxic in its secrecy. So something may come to your attention through a woman or about a woman, female, not a mother kind of thing. You know, Venus is allies, friends that are friends, could be just a friend that spills a secret during this time. And the time again is October 9th to November 5th while she's in Sagittarius. So the next thing I want to say is that you're experiencing, so we talked about the Venus factor because you're Venus ruled. So that's one of the most important parts of your chart. Okay, that's why I fixated on that for you. I want to talk a little bit next about the fact that we've all felt really stuck, as I said in the beginning of this video, with a lack of direct momentum. And we all felt like we're in a quagmire and things are slow, or we can't get them off the ground, or they stall and they flutter down to the ground like, you know, like a paper airplane with a bad design. Oh, and I forgot to mention for Aries, the Pluto piece. Oh, well, sorry, Aries. So we're going to give Taurus the Pluto piece. So first of all, Taurus, one of the things that's going on here that you need to really know about forward momentum and direction in various areas. One, Jupiter and Saturn moving direct in Aquarius are going to affect your career in a good way. Now, when I say career, and if I'm not looking at the camera, guys, it's because I'm looking at the chart without you. If I say career, Taurus, it's because it's your 10th house. Now, it's not always just your career. It can be your public status in the world. Like I'm married, I'm single, I'm divorced, I'm engaged. It can be the part of your chart, the 10th house, that represents, you know, what you desire to strive for and the actions you wish to take in the world to be recognized by. So your ambitions then, okay? And in this part, this 10th house part of the chart, there's been a stall here. You probably felt like your ambitions and your drive to get your reputation and career and success going has been just terrible. And as this direct motion of Jupiter and Saturn occurs, you're going to find some relief there. So Saturn turning around at 6 degrees of Aquarius, and Jupiter turning around at 22 degrees of Aquarius. So Saturn turns around, as I mentioned earlier, on the 10th of the month. And is that correct? I just had a moment. Well, that's my memory of it anyway. Let me double check my charts. Okay, no, it has to be right. Hang on, so much for writing things down. Yeah, I just progressed my chart. Yeah, the 10th, 11th, Saturn turns around. So Saturn could have been giving you in its retrograde motion for the last few months a sense of that things that you want to get going are stalled, that you really, no matter how hard you're trying to build something new, to get something going in work, career, ambition, that things are hard. You know, Saturn's retrograde, but Saturn's trying to get you to go backwards to really investigate what is worth building up here. What do you really care to build in this career zone of your chart? Now, Jupiter going direct as well is opportunity that has not been there. Like, you know, Jupiter in the 10th house can bring great opportunities for advancement in your career, promotions, being respected, having lucky breaks in your career zone. And all of a sudden, like that kind of went offline on June 21st when Jupiter was going into his retrogradation. So it's not offline to punish you. It's offline to get you also to look deeper at some of those 10th house goals, ambitions, and the things you want to succeed at. Now that he's going direct, you're going to find that, oh yeah, hey, you know, this begins on October the 18th, and you begin to feel this, okay, relief and momentum in some of those 10th house matters. Finally, I forgot to mention Pluto, but Pluto is going to be going into his direct motion October the 2nd at 22 degrees of Capricorn. He's such a slow planet and he moves so slowly, but it means a kind of gradual feeling of some directionality and momentum and energy that you know you can tangibly see in the house of higher education. If you're a Taurus who's doing higher education, campuses and colleges, this is going to be some kind of breaking through, some kind of clarity, some kind of direction, momentum, power in that area. And it it can also be trips in foreign lands. If you had stolen that, who hasn't, that finally can get going, as well as things to do with the book publishing world, and also to do with your deepest purpose in life. Finally, that can have a sense of forward, powerful power, Pluto directionality and momentum. Last but not least is that Mars action. So Mars is going to be coming into the heart of the sun in the sign of Libra on the 7th of October. And for you, this is happening in the sign of Libra, but in your house of, I'm having one of those moments, the 6th house of work. The work you do, your place of employment, your employees, your health protocols. Mars is about action, decisions, and choices. Having him, moving into the heart of the sun is a very old Mars who was invisible since, August the 23rd. First of all, when it comes to your health or ways to be healthy, you may have noticed that you had a bit of a decline, perhaps in some way, August 23rd onward, in what might have been some robust health or something that was going on in the summer. Second of all, you may have found that as he became invisible, right? Well, he was in August there, he wasn't there in the chart, but the point is his invisibility has led him there. So I'm going to say that you're finding that you're winding down into the middle of October between the 5th and the 10th, some story around actions you need to take for better health, but also actions and decisions you need to take around work and work protocols and what you want to do for work and for like doing work, making money, it's an Artha house. So, something is coming to a close, something is dying to be reborn. It wouldn't surprise me for a lot of Tauruses that you don't have a change in the work you're doing or a change of employment or job as he becomes dead on the 7th, and then it begins to rebirth himself and come out of the sun slowly, slowly, slowly. So like October 10th, he's no longer that close to be, called, burned up in the sun the way he is being burned on October 7th. And he will be visible again in the sky in November, around the 23rd or 4th of November. So as we move away from October 7th and the month of October progresses, there's something about that feels he's still in the sign of Libra, that you're very likely going to have some breakthrough in a work opportunity, okay? And maybe a brand new work opportunity, because whatever you have been doing may not work for you and it's time to let it go. I'm just going to double check the date of his crossing into Scorpio, which I should have had written down. So give me a minute, because I'm not usually doing the monthly. So therefore I'm learning how to get all the data prepared in a timely manner to give you the lowdown. And I'm using a software that is advancing without me. Sorry, Taurus. For you, I'm a little bit clunky today. October 30th. Of course, I knew this. I knew Mars went into Scorpio October 30th. So between the 9th and October 30th, October 9th or 10th and the 30th, you'll be seeing some momentum in the area of work and health in a good way. And you're likely making decisions and taking action to improve your health and having success with that, because he's in dignity in Scorpio. And you will find as well that you may get a lot of good energy going for some better job or more successful work for you. All righty. I hope that helps, Taurus. At the end of the month, the last thing I want to finish with is you're going to experience a magical two things. October the 15th, Jupiter will trine the sun. Jupiter trining the sun can bring luck and opportunity. The sun will be focusing a ray on the 15th of light from Libra, which is a power of ideas, a power of partnership. By the way, if you're in a primary partnership, this could be good news. Lucky opportunity, like an engagement. Hello. So from the Libra zone, there is a light being shone, and you may find that this can really open up a lucky zone in the middle of the month. I'd be prescriptive for you and say maybe on October the 15th to set a really powerful intention for what you desire, because you are Taurian and you are running on desires in this lifetime. Energy around work can also proceed on the 15th, because the sun in Libra is in the work and health house. So a new work hope career opportunity, because Sun in 6th and Jupiter in 10th. So if you want to apply for your dream job, go for it, because some breakthroughs are happening in the middle of the month. And lastly, love the magic on Halloween of Mercury in Libra trining Jupiter in Aquarius. So that is a little bit more of that same energy, but this is Mercury, or not sex. Yeah, Mercury. Am I saying that right? Yeah, Mercury trining Jupiter. And Mercury can bring lucky opportunity through emails, phone calls, or some good news for you to do with your career and your work. Okay, keep that in mind. Things are looking up. All right, thanks, Taurus, for listening. And I'm going to move on to the next sign. Okay, Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. Today we're talking about the month of October and how that's going to influence you as all this cool action happens. And one of the primary things I want to focus on for you is the Mercury moving into direct motion, because Mercury is the god of your sign. If you're a Gemini, Sun, Moon, or rising sign, especially Mercury, is very important to you. And Mercury will be retrograding from September 27th to October 18th. And that for you is not a bad thing. I think that you can really encounter, as he's so close to Earth, greater magic and synchronicity and momentum in super spiritually woo ways, and it kind of touch base with magic, magician, and all of the mystery of life that Mercury retrograde can bring. But his retrograde time is going to be in your 5th house. And your 5th house is the house of your love life, your romance, your children, your creativity, the muse, your inspiration, sometimes money, luck, and speculation. And sometimes for independent business owners, it kind of represents the house of the self-made person who creates their own business. Now, when this retrograde is happening, you might find old lovers coming back to you in October, or old sex partners coming back, because it is that romance, love, and sex house. And you may also find some money stories from the past returning to you and being investigated again for some reason, coming back for review or for your attention. And if you're artistic and creative, an idea that you've had before to write a song, to create a book, or something like that could be showing back up and asking you to look at it again and maybe finish it, tidy it up, or do a renovation review of that creative idea. So keep all of those ideas in mind, because Mercury retrograde in your 5th house, and also your children, going back over old ground. If you have children, going back over old ground with them in some area, some conversations, some issues that are going on. Anyway, so keep that in mind. It's a classic Mercury retrograde in the 5th house. All the old boyfriends and lovers come out of the woodwork, and suddenly you're like looking in the mirror of the past in that regard. He does move direct on October 18th. Now, on October 18th, when he stations to go direct and turns around, he's joined by another direct motion planet. And just for the record, he'll be in your Libra in 5th house until early November. I can't remember, I think it's November 5th or something. So you've got a long run of energy of Mercury, news, information around money, children, creativity, and love and sex stuff. Okay, so this is a whole zone of juice for you during this time, all of October into early November. Now, also, Jupiter will go direct on the 18th of October, the very same day, okay? The very same day that we get that direct motion from Mercury. And so they're both in air signs, so trining each other. It's kind of like a really positive vibe. And the direct motion and Mercury goes direct, I believe, around the 10th degree. Yes, the 10th degree of Libra. And Jupiter goes direct at 22, just in case you have planets anywhere near those degrees. So as Jupiter goes direct for you, Geminis, it's in your 9th house. And your 9th house is a house of trips to foreign lands and higher education. And it's a house of the house of God, spirituality, wisdom, and truth, the house of your alignment with your dharma, your purpose. Jupiter going retrograde, all these months since June 21st could have had you going back over old ground regarding your spiritual beliefs, what you consider to be true about God, the universe, the meaning of life. Old spiritual teachers may have come out of the woodwork during the retrograde from the 21st to October the 18th. But after the 18th of October, things you want to do their 9th house now have Jupiter's blessing. So you want to take that trip to a foreign land, book those tickets, it's going to work out. You want to get that book published or find an agent, go for it, it's going to happen. You want to apply to that school, you want to go to that educational setting, you're going to have luck in that zone. So look for Jupiter's blessings. He goes direct and he'll be in your ninth house till the end of the year. So, I mean, until like December 27th or 28th. So you've got a lot of momentum in that ninth house area now. Certainly a good idea to take advantage of it in some way. Now, you know, Saturn is going direct as well in the same part of the chart. He gets there into direct motion in your ninth house a little earlier, just so you know. So he's kind of laying a foundation for Jupiter. So, you know, the direct motion of Saturn on the 10th of the month at 6 degrees of Aquarius is very positive as well. Saturn will help you build legacy, and Jupiter supports that when he goes direct. Lasting results, authority and mastery, and what it is you wish to study, or where you want to travel, what your book is about, whatever ninth house thing you're doing. Sometimes with Jupiter and Saturn up there together in the sky, and Saturn's there till 2023, some of you Geminis are going back to church. Like, you're going to find a religious or spiritual calling or path, because Jupiter is about that as well, a new kind of faith. But with Saturn, it's coming out of a tradition. So some of you Geminis for sure will find yourself wanting to learn about Buddhism or some traditional system of spiritual attainment, Sufism or something like that. I think astrology belongs in the ninth house, and you never know, some of you Geminis might learn astrology and go deep into the wisdom and knowledge of something like astrology as well. The last things to say here, I'm trying to, oh yeah, Pluto, not in any order, guys. Apologize for being all over the chronological map. Pluto goes direct October the 2nd at 22 degrees of Capricorn. He's a slow moving sloth of a giant. So, but it's just a change of energy in your eighth house of finances, bank loans, spousal money, investment monies, deep mysteries, hidden things, secrets, and occult mysteries. Now, Pluto going direct, gone to the underworld, anything that was hidden from your view that has to do with money or secrets or something like that will begin to be revealed to you after October the 2nd. Pluto can unearth that. Pluto's power in that part of the chart. So if your investments have been doing unwell and Pluto goes direct, some of your investments will begin to pick back up or take off after October 2nd. Next, Mars. So Mars will be, you know, Cazimi, the heart of the sun, dying as an old Mars to become a brand new baby Mars. And that death day is on October 2nd. Although from the 5th to the 10th, you can feel the wailing and crying of the death and rebirth Mars. So this is a time where Mars is extremely impotent in terms of what he can do in the world. He can't really help you one way or the other, take action, make decisions. And this is happening, this Cazimi in the heart of the sun, death of Mars in Libra. And we already talked about the energy that Libra holds for you, right? That is the part of the chart that's your romance and your love and your, you know, your sex life and, you know, your relationship to your children. Some of you Geminis may feel like you've been going through some slow grinding death since August the 23rd, as Mars has been going invisible from the sky under the beams of the sun. So you're coming out the other end of that, however, on November the 23rd, 24th, when he becomes visible. But October, you know, October 7th, representing the bottom of this journey or the turning point around the death and rebirth of Mars. If you've had a relationship that hasn't gone well, or even ended during that time, I wouldn't be surprised. Mars would have had you probably cut ties and sever love relationships, or even difficult children or relationships with your children being extremely strained. And same with money luck being kind of offline. So please wait until Mars begins to be seen again, especially November 23rd, 24th, but things will start to lighten up a bit and you'll have direction and momentum and choice clarity sometime after the 10th of October in that area of your chart. All right, next, Venus is out of bounds, the goddess of love and money and pleasure and play and beauty and art. Well, she's out of bounds, guys. Can't really tell how wild she'll be, wild child, unpredictable. And she's doing her out of bounds journey October the 9th to December 7th. But from October 9th to November 5th, she's out of bounds in Sagittarius. Now, the Sagittarius part of your chart, Gemini, is your marriage house. It's also business partners. Sometimes it's marketplaces, clients, audiences, and others. But it certainly is a marriage house. And with all that difficulty in dying in the romance and sex house, and then with Venus out of bounds in your 7th house, for one thing, I definitely would be careful about anybody you date or come into contact with when Venus is out of bounds. It can be extraordinarily out of the ordinarily good in terms of a relationship, but it can be also wild card, really extraordinarily bad. So keep that in mind. It's up to you to figure out if you're up for a wild ride or not in the idea of connecting to another person in a relationship energy. Same with business partnerships being a little bit dicey and out of bounds during that time, especially partnerships in business or love with Venus people, which are women, okay? Venus in your 7th house can make you kind of popular, and you can bring you a little bit of like Andy Warhol 15 minutes. And if you're a Gemini looking for that, that's a good thing, right? It could be out of bounds, like, a viral hit on something you create. So her out of bounds may not always be a bad thing. You may have some unexpected public appeal between October the 9th and November 5th while she's in Sagittarius. So just be wary of the out of bounds quality. Alrighty. Last but not least, there's a Jupiter in a trine to the sun that is always about luck and goodness, and it's like super sweet. And with Jupiter in Aquarius and the sun trining from the sign of Libra, you can expect that this would be something positive to do with foreign shores, dharma, higher education, and then play, fun, pleasure, sexuality, and romance, and also money, luck. Just try to tie those themes together. Last, Mercury, the psychopomp who likes to go to the underworld on spooky Halloween night, will trine Jupiter. And that is only a good thing because that's good news energy. And so the good news that Mercury brings is from the 5th house of money, speculation, and luck, children, and romance on spooky Halloween night, as he looks over at Jupiter in your 9th house of foreign shores, dharma, and higher education. Something sweet can happen on All Hallows Eve. Woo-hoo. Thanks for listening and enjoy the month ahead. Hi, Scorpio. I forgot where I was. I'm not with Scorpio. Yeah, I'm with. Hey, let's start all over again. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. Hello, it's me, your intrepid astrologer who's getting delirious for doing a long video. Oh, guys, it's my first time trying to do it all signs in depth a month ahead. So let's go for it. I'm not sure I'm cut out for the long haul stuff. So let's go for it. So, hey, Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. Let's talk about what I think is probably one of the more important elements. And you can notice I'm not covering the moons in this. I'm covering the moons separately when I do my moon videos. Just mentioning that because you're Miss Moon, ruled by the moon. But let's talk about a few other things going on here. So let's go chronological with you guys. Pluto will go direct in Capricorn on October 2nd. Pluto is a slow glacial baby, but he's going direct in your 7th house of business and love partnerships, particularly committed ones, plus sometimes your audience or your clients. So if you have audience or clients that you need to reach out to and you want to have your relationship go well, and you need to make your business partnership thing get going better in a better way, Pluto direct gives you some momentum and power in that area beginning on October 2nd. Especially think about this as a way to get more powered up about marriage, business, clients, partnerships, audience, other. Keep it in mind that it's a slow moving planet. Even if October 2nd, it turns around to go direct, it's a very slow process of building up momentum over the weeks that follow. So don't be impatient there. Second of all, you Cancer folk, pay attention to the Venus out of bounds. I just feel drawn to talk about October 9th, Venus going out of bounds for you guys. And she does her out of bounds journey in Sagittarius, which is your 6th house of your work you're doing in the world, the work routines, and the health and daily routines you do for your health. Now, Venus loves pleasure, and she's out of bounds in your 6th house of health protocols. Very possible that you're going to toss all your health protocols out the window, and she will say, let's eat candy. Let them eat cake. She'll be like, pleasure, pleasure, more pleasure, please. Extreme pleasure, bring me more. She could also have an out of bounds female in your workplace, like a woman in your workplace or in your collegiate environment going crazy on you. Let's get crazy, wild, out of control energy. So pay attention to the possibility of that between October 9th and November the 5th. Certainly, however, if it is about your health and Venus is going to go out of bounds, you could also find yourself finding a health improvement measure that's all about extreme pleasure. Like, who knew that 7 orgasms a day can cure, you know, the common arthritis or something? Ooh, I just made that up, and it might be true. So keep your eye out for pleasurable ways that are extremely pleasurable to improve your health. All right. I want to talk about the fact that there's been a quagmire of retrogradation and everybody's going to go direct. So what does that mean for you, that all of a sudden we get momentum instead of inertia, and how does that look? Let's talk about the major shifts of momentum. First of all, Saturn will go direct on the 10th of October at 6 degrees of Aquarius, later to be followed by Jupiter going direct on the 18th of October, okay, at 22 degrees of Aquarius. So there's a lot of directionality happening in your 8th house, where things have been stuck and now they're unsticking. Your 8th house for Cancer folk is your money house. You know, it's like our Aquarian house. Your Aquarian house is your money house. So it's your savings, your investments, your loans, your spouse's money, inheritance money, money that belongs to others that you can get your hands on, that you don't actually work for directly. So you're having this shift of momentum around those kinds of monies in your life right now. If you're involved in occult mysteries and magic, this is an area of that as well. And you could find some of that stuff goes forward. And, you know, if things have been stalled in your sex life, because this is deep, intimate, tantric type energies and kink, I don't know, Jupiter and Saturn going direct can give you some momentum there. Saturn wants to build legacy wealth here for you right now. He'll be there till March of 2023. And he wants to structure your money in positively lasting, valuable ways. Where Jupiter, who's there until the end of this year and has been there since last December, is bringing you opportunities for financial gain. So keep your eye open then for new opportunities for investments, especially, and lucky breaks in your money story. As he goes direct in the middle of the month, October 18th onward till the end of the year, he'll be in your Aquarian 8th house. Now, Mercury will be also going direct on the same day as Jupiter, which is the 18th of October. And he's going direct from the air sign of Libra. And Libra is a good place for him. He likes to be in air, and he's been going backwards September 27th to October 18th. And that is a time for you of looking at things to do with your real estate, your home, your house, sometimes with your family of origin or your mom, and going back over old 4th house ground. Okay. You might have gone back and ripped up a carpet and put a new one in, or ripped up the new carpet and put a new one in, done some revisions and looked at things that you may have already been doing in and around your home, and doing something new, like revising. I know if you did a renovation, you might be revising the renovation, but stuff around the home, Mercury's been asking you to go back over and redo or reinvestigate. Now, he goes direct on the 18th, the same day as Jupiter. And now things really start to take off in home, as well as, don't forget, that 8th house. Some of you, this could be getting that bank loan for a mortgage or a home equity loan, taking off and giving, you know, all systems go, 2 thumbs up for that kind of stuff. What else do I want to talk about? Ooh, Mars will be in the heart of the sun, and the old man dying, the old Mars, the old beleaguered warrior, dying on October 7th in the heart of the sun to be reborn as a brand new baby Mars. And he'll feel this like energy from the 5th to the 10th of October while he's that close to the sun, where he's in this extended dying phase. And the dying phase of Mars is in Libra. It also has to do with that zone where Mercury sits, your home. So your home, this could be a real turning point for you regarding decisions about real estate and home. And now, so some people, the 4th house is the house of the mother, and maybe possibly your mother's under ill health, and this is a real turning point in her health one way or the other. But if it's not about health and mom, it could definitely be, and surgery and mom, Mars is the god of surgery. It could definitely be about Mars is construction too, you know, so some serious new construction as he comes out of the heart of the sun and really begins to pivot and create momentum in Libra, the house of your home. And he'll be in Libra for a long time, right? He's moving pretty slowly. So, well, he's got 6 weeks. Let me see. Oh yeah. Oh yes, he gets out of Libra on Halloween, October 30th. So major momentum and shifts of things in your home after he gets out of the heart of the sun, after rebirths himself. I'll also say decisions you need to make around home and real estate will be powerfully positive and give new birth to your life over the next 2 years. Well, he's, till he births himself again. So it's almost like Mars says, okay, over the next 2 years, the rebirth has to do with home and real estate for you. And that's a good energy for your area of your life where you have momentum. Okay. Thanks for listening, Cancer. I hope that was helpful. Okay, moving on. We're next talking about, thank God I'm recording, the next sign. I'm flipping my chart forward, which is Leo. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, the energy here for you guys is all about, well, there's so many different energies, but we're going to talk first about what I think is most important. Oh, I forgot to cover some ground for the last sign. Oh, well, I'm all over the map. We're going to talk about for you, Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign, the 7th house stuff, because, this is a big deal to have both 2 stuck planets, 2 retrograde planets, Jupiter and Saturn going direct in your 7th house of primary love stories, committed love stories, significant other partnerships, business partnerships, your audience, your marketplace, your outreach, your clients, the whole other zone of the chart. And for a Leo rising folk and sun and moon, it may have felt like that part of your life has been on hold. Things may have been stalled in your business partnerships. Your marriage may have felt like it was underwater and things were really difficult. You may have felt like getting your audience, marketplace, client thing going has been stalled and stuck as well. That's all turning around in October. So look forward to the momentum turning, first of all, on October 10th, with Saturn turning around to go direct. And Saturn will want to start to build a legacy here. Now, Saturn is in your marriage house, right, until 2023 March, and got there last December. This is sobering up your marriage or your primary relationship. You're growing it up, you're adulting it, you're maturing it. But I'm going to not lie to you here. Saturn in the marriage house makes your marriage difficult. And it's kind of a bit of a endurance test and a make or break. If this marriage survives, or this primary business partnership survives to March 7th, 2023, then it's going to have new foundation upon which it is built. Now, Jupiter is going to then go direct on October 18th in the same part of your chart that I just discussed. This is where opportunities start to happen. So Jupiter going direct here till the end of October. And in fact, really spending until the end of the calendar, until end of 21 in your 7th house in direct motion, opportunities in business, clients, business partnerships, marriage improving, opportunities for new relationships. If you're single, Jupiter is spouse for heterosexual females in Vedic astrology. You may have a new relationship begin as Jupiter goes direct here. And if you started a new relationship back in December and then it stalled, then it could be reinvigorated because Jupiter began to retrograde June 21st, and that could have stalled an existing relationship. But then it could get new momentum as he goes into direct motion October the 18th at 22 degrees of Aquarius. Pay attention if your descendant is at 22 degrees of Aquarius, then that's really important because that would be like Jupiter stationing on your descendant, bringing an incredibly significant business or love partnership of great power into your life. All righty. Mercury will go direct on the same day as Jupiter on the 18th of October from the sign of Libra. He is going to go direct at the 10th degree of Libra, and he would have been retrograding since September 27th. This is going back over old ground that has to do with your siblings, your aunts, your uncles, and your cousins, maybe your 3rd house, short trips and travel, skills-based learning and education. This is maybe sometimes marketing and selling. And so certainly online, like your website and social media stuff can be 3rd house. The platforms are 3rd house. So you have a lot of that energy that has been reviewed as Mercury went back and retrograded through that part of the chart. And so those elements of your life had to be revised or slow. You had to go back and look at it and maybe do it again, negotiate something new in that part of the chart. If you had a trip plan, you might have had to stop it, redo it and plan it again, whatever. That was what was happening there. Now on October 18th, he will go direct and give you momentum around all of those areas I talked about. And certainly Mercury loves to learn, God of the research on the mind, in a house of the mind. So there's a possibility that some momentum about a course or a class you wish to teach or learn from will be given to you, Leos, by the middle of October when he goes direct. Mars will be also in your third house of aunts, uncles, cousins, and siblings, and trips and travel. And Mars is a travel god, and he has been dying slowly as he goes into the heart of the sun in Libra, and he will meet the sun at in October the 7th, and die in the heart of the sun. Now, his death in the heart of the sun in your natal third house is a rebirth, and it's kind of a promise, because he will come out between the 5th and 10th of prescriptively between 5th and 10th of October. Try to avoid making major decisions to do with trips, travel, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, courses of learning and study, etc. Just, can you pause the button? Mars is off duty. He's deeply dying there. He's not giving you any executive command to make good decisions or take any great actions or even travel. But after the 10th of October, he begins to come out of that death, and he's a baby Mars, full of juice, fresh energy. And, he will he's sanctioned a bit of energy here about, this third house is a place where he was born again. So you're having a rebirth of new momentum, action, decisions, and choices, and passion even about third house matters, perhaps, that will prevail. He won't be visible in the sky until November the 23rd, but it doesn't mean you don't have some momentum mid-October to the end of the month. Last couple of notes. Sun will trine Jupiter. Oh no, I forgot about Venus. Will be out of bounds, acting like a wild child. Love and money unpredictability, pleasure and play unpredictability. October the 9th, December 7th. But between October 9th and November 5th, she's doing her out of bounds in the sign of Sagittarius, where you have love, romance, children. Now, also muse, creativity, inspiration. Also sometimes speculative money, luck. Do not make money speculative investments or play games that you have no money to lose, like casinos or all your money on the lottery or something, because she's out of bounds. So she's kind of produce wildly unpredictable results in money, but she could give you a great financial bonus point here. You could get an out of bounds gain, but it's like, be careful, because it could go the other way. So be cautious. And then when it comes to love and romance, you could have the most wildly crazy, amazing date of your life, Venus out of bounds in the romance house, or it could go the worst date of my life. I'm just telling you that this is the most unpredictable zone of your chart right now. Same with your children. My reliable teen who always does the dishes suddenly decided to bust out and break all the dishes, and then told me to get a dishwasher. I don't know. So, we'll look for unpredictability with children, especially female children. Okay, next. We're going to talk very briefly that Jupiter will be in a trine with the sun, or the sun will actually trine Jupiter on October 15th. It's just a lucky day. You want to take advantage of the sun shining her light, or his light, from Libra, third house, trips, travels. I told you the whole meaning of that house, and shining that light to Jupiter in your 7th house. This could be a romantic trip, a business trip, something good online taking off that gives you a greater audience. But it's a real lucky day. You want to harness October the 15th. Lastly, Mercury, spooky Mercury on Halloween night will trine Jupiter. I love that energy of Mercury from the Libra zone of your third house, trining Jupiter in Aquarius in your 7th house. Could be a really sweet time for you to have some kind of breakthrough in the same thing I just discussed with the sun, but on Halloween night. Lucky news, emails, phone calls coming through from siblings or aunts, uncles, and cousins, or people in your local neighborhood that break through to some lucky developments in audience, client, business, marketplace / significant relationship. All right, thanks for listening, Leo. I hope that wasn't too much information, to a TMI, but I did my best to make it succinct. All right, let's see if I can roll through these, guys. I'm taking longer than I thought. So we're going to talk about Virgo. So Virgo, sun, moon, especially rising sign. The thing I really want to focus on is Mercury, because of course, Mercury is the Lord of your ascendant. He will retrograde, as he does 3 times a year, this time in the sign of Libra. He retrogrades September 27th to October the 18th. And in Libra for you, that is your money house. That is where you make your money. That's your earnings. That's your possessions. You possess money. Hold it in your hand. It's your paycheck. So it's also your vocation and your voice. Some of you may be reassessing what you want to do, what's your true calling, what's your voice for this world. Mercury retrograde could also change your food style. Mercury The second house is what we put in our mouth, what we eat and drink. And he retrogrades there. He could go back and say, you know, that food style, that the vegan thing or the 360 cleanse or that paleo thing you did before, let's go back and try it again. So he could incite a food change style or a drink change style, but he could also go back over old ground to help you find something to do with a money development, to make more money or change the way you make money. Or an old employer might try to pull you back in through an email or a phone call to come back to work for them. So some old money source or some old form of money could come back to you that you haven't been getting for a while. But it has to do with the way you earn money as opposed to windfalls or inheritances and stuff like that. The next thing I think we'll talk about for you guys is I'm trying to say for everybody, because of this retrogradation of 4 planets, Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury, everything has been pretty stuck, right? For a lot of people, and this is a lot of energy that's clogged up in retrograde motion at once. And so the outer energies of things happening have been stalled. So what I'm thinking here that you're going to really love is that Jupiter will be going into direct motion in the same place, by the way, that your Mercury happiness spot is, Mercury, the Lord of your chart, which is that Libra zone of money. And Jupiter going into direct motion on the 18th at 22 degrees of, oh, sorry. I mean, Aquarius. I'm sorry. Oh my God, this is what happens. Sorry. Pause. Cut. I'm not going to edit. Sorry. Jupiter is in Aquarius, trining the Mercury in your money house, and they're going direct. That's what I meant to say. So this is a very positive work development. You're going to get a job, or you're going to get your ideal job, or you're going to get bonuses, or you're going to get a promotion in your job, or you're going to get some kind of significant uptick in your money through work, because it's Jupiter in the house of work and employment. And he's finally going direct, and he's been stalled, and it's been going, and this retrograde is June 21st, and you may have been unsatisfied with the opportunities you've already had in the workplace or in jobs you've acquired or gone for. And no problem, because Jupiter was retrograding. He's kind of undercover. He wasn't giving you the best opportunities. And Saturn turns direct in the same part, your work house, October 10th. And that's, again, legacy and momentum and building a foundation around work and money, as well as health. So both Jupiter and Saturn haven't been the best for your health. Jupiter retrograde since the 21st of June could have slowed things down there for you a little bit, okay? And let me remind myself, Saturn began retrograding in the 3rd week of May. So the feeling I have is that between May and mid-October, things to do with work and health may have not have been as ideal as you want. However, things are turning around. And what I'd say about this is that by the end of the month of October, you're likely to have some really good news and developments happening for you around your health and your money story and your employment story as well. As well, Mars will be, did I talk about this yet? Oh my God, I forgot what I started with. I'm having a moment. What did I start with? I think I started with Venus out of bounds. No, I didn't. Did I start with Mars? Oh my God. Okay, Virgo. I didn't do this yet. Okay, because don't have a format, so I remember what I started with. Start with Mercury retrograde. Okay, so no. So then the other thing I want to talk about then is Mars will die in the heart of the sun and be reborn as a baby Mars, and that's going to happen in your 2nd house of earnings as well. Now that's a huge energy of the god of action and decisions and passion and purpose and direction forward. Moving forward. And he tends to spend a lot of money when he's traveling through someone's 2nd house. You might have gone, where is the money going? It's just flowing through my fingers, right? When he's in Libra, but he's going to move into the heart of the sun on October the 7th. And this is a dying, and he's being reborn. So between October 5th and the 7th, don't make any major money decisions because he's really off duty. Wait until he's cleared that time frame, and you kind of wait till after the 10th, at least, of October. And then he's going to bring you new momentum regarding money. Again, this is a good thing for money and work, money and work, money and work. And he's kind of rebirthing in a part of your chart that suggests that over the next couple of years, one of the most powerful places of good action and directionality has to do with the way you make your money and how money and possessions and resources come to you. Okay, Venus is going to be out of bounds in your fourth house. You may have, you know, luxury items that fail to deliver. You may get a sofa on a luxury thing and it turns out to be a dud because she's out of bounds. You can't predict it. She loves luxury. She loves things and possessions that are beautiful. She's in the house of your home, your real estate. Not a good time to make decisions about buying and selling real estate or renting and leasing places. It's a bit unpredictable. And she's in that fourth house out of bounds from October 9th to December 7th. She's a goddess of love in your home life, your love life, your sex life in your home. Your private life could go out over the roof of amazeballs or can go the other way and unpredictably get really bad for a while. But just don't put money into real estate either right now, unless you can stand the unpredictability of it. So I would wait if you can. I wouldn't purchase a home or take a risk on a money risk necessarily if you can avoid it between October 9th and November 5th when she's in your fourth house out of bounds. Lastly, Jupiter and the Sun are in a trine respectively to each other. The Sun will trine Jupiter. October 15th is just a lucky day. It's the Sun in the house of your earnings and your possessions and your money. October the 15th, trining Jupiter in the workhouse. Now that could be a job offer or a promotion or a raise or, you know, something good happening there. Then also an advancement in your work that you didn't expect that improves your money. The last part of the month, you have Halloween night, Mercury in the second house of money in a trine to Jupiter in your seventh house, and that is similarly positive. It could be the signing of a contract for greater money or employment. It could be the deal on a table. It could be the phone call where you get the job that you really want and you're so excited. It could also be really good news about your health, like you took a lab blood work and the results came back great. Some sweet deal happening on Halloween-ish night, Mercury trine Jupiter. Thanks for listening. Oh, you patiently waiting people for the next one. All right, Libra. We're doing Libra next. That's the next in line. Okay, Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. You're experiencing the energy of this particular month, like we all are, with new momentum and things are going forward. Before we get to the change of the retrogradation and things are moving forward, let's talk about Venus. Why? She's the lord of your ascendant or your sun or your moon. She owns Libra. So what she does in the sky matters. When she's out of bounds, she's wild, she's unpredictable. There's highs and lows and unexpected crazy ass developments with money, love, pleasure, and possessions, beauty, cosmetics, fashion, you know, her whole gamut of stuff. So she's out of bounds October the 9th to November 5th in Sagittarius. And as she goes through that part of your chart, she creates unpredictability in your third house. Well, your third house is the house of your siblings and your aunts and your uncles. It's a local neighborhood. It's things you would do in the local neighborhood, like go to the coffee shop, go to the hair salon, you know? So Venus in the third house be like, okay, you can get your hair done if you take a risk, but you might not like the result, or it may exceed your expectations, right? You could find love in the local neighborhood and it could be a wild ride. It could be quite unpredictable. It might be somebody outside the bounds of the type of person you normally would be with. Trips, if you want to take a pleasure trip, like a spa trip or something for fun, Venus will go in that direction while she's traveling through your third house. But again, there's the nature of what's so outside the norm, what's out of the bounds area there. And so you might have some crazy ass unexpected stuff happen on such a trip that of course brings you exceeding pleasure or exceedingly diminished pleasure. So know that that's just a wild card area of the chart for now, okay? And women in your local neighborhood or women relatives could also be wildly unpredictable during that time, Libra. Secondly, the next thing I want to talk about for you guys is, let's talk about direct motion planets. Pluto is going into direct motion from his retrograde October 2nd in your fourth house, which is a kentron or stake of the chart, a real estate home anchor of your chart, your mother, house of your mother. And so Pluto's retrograde is slow, its turnaround is slow. Nothing happens overnight. Just know there's a sort of energetic shift for the rest of the year where Pluto's trying to bring power in the area of your chart that represents your home, your real estate, your land, the root of the chart. And so you can get powerful things going from home or develop powerful things with real estate and home as part of the story. And, you know, Pluto's been there since 2008 in your fourth house. So you've probably done really well with home, land, real estate things anyway, a lot of Libras. Also, Pluto in the fourth house since 2008 could have involved the death of a mom. Literally, like the house of the mother, Pluto's going through the house of death and rebirth as well, which can, there's a kind of death quality to the fourth house. Next off is that Saturn will go direct after being retrograde since May, and he'll go direct in Aquarius at 6 degrees. And in your Aquarian piece of the real estate, that is your natal fifth house. And your natal fifth house is the house of romance, love, play, and pleasure, fun, money, luck, speculation. You know, it's funny with that house, you know, because I think, because I'm looking at the chart now, you guys, hi, I'm still here. I kind of think that when Saturn's going through the fifth house, it's kind of an oxymoron, right? The house of fun with the god of hard work. You have to work hard to have fun, you know? So I'm thinking some of you guys might be feeling like fun has evaded you. And as he's been there since December of last year, and he's going to be there until 2023. But this retrograde turnaround can bring you the opportunity to build a lasting love, you know, a new romantic engagement that has lasting value. It could go the distance, or build a business. The fifth house can be building businesses, your own business, and having that have legacy value. Jupiter will go direct on October 18th in the same part of your chart. Now, Jupiter can bring romance in the fifth house, and he's been there in your fifth house since December of 20, and he'll be there to the end of this year now. And so he's finishing strong from 22 degrees to the end of the year. In your fifth house. And, you know, this could be a new love story for you guys. There's no doubt about it. You know, you could find new love coming at you with great vigor, bounty, joy, faith, hope, and optimism as this new retrograde turnaround happens. So look for the possibility of an opening mid-October to a new love story, but that prevails to the end of the year as a possibility. But creative muse, you know, being inspired by the muse with both Saturn in retrograde and Jupiter, you probably have been feeling creatively uninspired. So for you creative types, your muse gets fired back up and you're on fire with new inspired ideas to do something, to create something. Mercury will go direct on the same day as Jupiter after being retrograde from September 27th to October 18th. He goes direct at 6 degrees. I'm forgetting my degrees. Where am I? He goes direct at 10 degrees of Libra, okay, on October the 18th. And this is your first house. This is you. And this is the Lord of, this is Mercury in your first house. If you're a Libra ascendant, sun and moon, it has the same implication. You're very much going to find that your own ability to express yourself, writing or speaking or messaging, has been slow and sloggy and kind of weird. And you might have to go back over old messages and old communications that you've done and to revise them during the retrograde. And then on October 18th, now you're all systems go. Like your communication is clean and clear. You know exactly how to say what you need to say, whether it's personally or to one-on-many. You just get your momentum around communications up and running again. Let's see, Mars will be dying and coming to his rebirth in the house of your body, your identity, your first house energy, Libra. So you could find that you have, if you wanted to have surgery of any kind, when Mars becomes visible, it kind of almost gives you a 2-year stamp, by the way. So Mars is going to be visible November 23rd onward, and then he's starting his rebirth in your first house of your body. So I kind of feel like surgeries that you need to do for your body over the next 2 years will be all good for you. And that you're going to get more athletic and in better shape as well because of this new energy that Mars is being born again, the athlete, the warrior, the god of surgery in the house of the body. So these things are all going to be great over the next 2 years. You're going to really maximize those elements of you. Venus will be out of bounds. She is the goddess of love. She's out of bounds. Did I talk about her? Yeah, I did. Sorry. The last two things is Jupiter will trine, the sun will trine Jupiter on October 15th. It's just a lucky day. You want to put it on your calendar and circle it and put a little golden horseshoe on it, okay? So it's going to be the sun, you know, shining in your first house. And October is a great month for you, Libra. You've got, you know, Mars and Mercury and the sun and Hygeia, the goddess of health and healing, in your first house all month, kind of all month 5. So it's a very good month for your body, for your sense of happiness about who you are, feeling powerful in your identity. And then the sun will be in that trine to Jupiter. So it's 5th house, 1st house. So number one, it could be about love and romance or money, luck, positively influencing your identity. So keep that in mind. It could also be good it's a house of purpose. Like, what do we want to do in our lives? You know, so you can get some more clarity of that. What vitalizes you, what gives you a spark. You could have some good news that you want to share with the world to do with a new creative project. And if you do want to share that news on the 15th of October, all systems go. So it's a good promotional launch time for your messages to have great bounty and success in bringing good things to you financially that way. And at the end of the month, Mercury on October 31st, All Hallows Eve, will sit in your first house of identity. He's direct now, so it's all good. And as he's sitting there, he will be in a trine to Jupiter in your fifth house. An email or news that you get or deliver could have great payoffs for you during that window of time. All right, thanks Libra for listening. Moving on. Whoop, I'm on a marathon. I gotta keep going. I want to get this finished. I'm interviewing a friend for my channel after this and I'm delaying her. Whoa, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is taking a lot longer than I thought. Let me just tell my friend I'm delayed. Okay, guys, let's keep going. I'm kind of hitting like I'm going to speed it up a bit because unfortunately I didn't know how long it would take to do a whole month for each sign. Learning as I go. So thanks for your patience. Scorpio, sun, moon, and your rising sign folk. We have to talk about Mars for you first off, before I talk about all the planets going retrograde or not. And I apologize for any of you signs that I forgot to say an element of, but I'm just kind of riffing. So Mars is your Lord of your ascendant. So it applies to sun and moon people as well who are Scorpionic. Now, you know, Mars is invisible in the sky. He's been there invisible since August 23rd and he will be till November 23rd. This means for you that the Lord of your identity and energy is really underwater. He's stealthy, he's undercover. Think inner warrior, think kung fu fighting, get in touch with your noble warrior archetype, but don't expect things in the outer world to be happening. Don't expect to be winning. Don't expect to be making momentous, powerful decisions effectively. Don't expect trips to go the way you plan. Don't expect surgeries to work the way you wanted. And I wouldn't advise a surgery with him invisible. You'll get the wrong surgeon or something. So your Mars is like not in his most powerful condition during his invisibility. And then he's going to die as the old, decrepit old man Mars to become baby brand new Mars, and he's going to die and be reborn in your 12th house. And this 12th house rebirth on October 7th is a rebirth of energy in that 12th house that will apply kind of energetically to the next 2 years, where this is a zone of your own rebirth. And this rebirth is in the 12th house of the dreams at night and the inner imagination and your past lives and your deep inner work. It's also the house of self-undoing and self-sabotage. And Mars is like, he's got a sword, dudes. You know, he like slices away all that is not elephant. Master, how do you carve a perfect elephant every time? I carve away all that is not elephant. Well, Mars has got his carving thingy out and he's going to slice it out. He's going to cut away all that is an elephant. So all that is not elephant or isn't good for you will be gone. So if you have like a habit, an addiction, like I don't care what, weed, Netflix binging, alcohol, if you have a self-defeating belief or pattern, if your self-saboteur is still running the show, I think Mars is going to help you get rid of it, Scorpio. It's like the last gasp of saboteur energy for yourself. If you have any hidden enemies that are trying to undo you, Mars is going to get rid of those people as well. And, you know, you could have someone in the workplace who doesn't like you, but it's subversively undoing you. You never know. I'm just sort of saying it's a house of hidden enemies and Mars is going to slice that away. The next thing I'd say is that you're going to be powerfully and positively impacted, as we all are, thank God, by the Aquarian zone of your chart getting out of its squashy condition of slog, because both Jupiter and Mercury will be moving direct in the Aquarius sky starting on the 10th of the month. And then later on, that's Saturn stationing, turning around the 10th of the month. And then Jupiter on the 18th. And Aquarius is to do with real estate. Now, if you Scorpios have been having issues around where you live, like you want to sell your place, but you know, you haven't been able to sell it, or you're thinking about it, but you haven't been able to make a decision, or you want to, but you have to go back over old ground and renovate or revise, or, you know, the retrogradation of things around the home moves forward. This is literally to do with real estate. Now, quite often the fourth house is the home you live in. So a lot of you Scorpios are making some momentous directional shifts around the home. And, of course, Jupiter is the god of bounty and luck. So you, Scorpio, especially rising, will have some lucky real estate developments that happen starting the middle of October as Jupiter finally turns direct, and will be direct in your real estate part of your chart till the end of the year. So that luck continues there. And Saturn says, let's make decisions that are solid and practical and wise, and that can build a new solid foundation in some way. So you can buy, sell, lease or rent or change your home in good ways starting mid-October. Mercury is also going direct in the middle of October on the 18th of the month, and Mercury will station to turn around after being retrograde since September 27th. And he will do his turnaround in the sign of Libra. Yes, that inner life place, that past life, self-sabotage. Some of you may have gone on a 3-week revision of like, I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to drop this habit. I'm going to get rid of this thing I do that doesn't really work for me. So, you might have been revising already, and now you're moving forward with new momentum, middle of the month around whatever you cleared up in that 12th house area of your chart. Mercury can bring you really good dreams, by the way, in the 12th house transit. And so during the retrograde, pay attention to that. Like until the 18th of October, some of the messages you get from your nocturnal dreams can be really important messages. Like the messenger of the gods retrograding close to Earth is already magical and synchronistic. So pay attention to your synchronicity, your magic, your mystery, and your dreams. And then he turns direct on October 18th, and yay, momentum, freedom, from whatever was being revised in the house of self-undoing. Also, sometimes the 12th house is money from foreign shores. So you may have some good news about money from a foreign land or foreign shore coming to you. Never know. And he also owned your houses of bank loans and inheritances. So good news around money that involves loans, mortgages, and banks, inheritances could happen starting mid-October onward as he goes direct. All right. What else? I want to talk about, did I talk about Pluto for you? Pluto is turning around in the sign of Capricorn at the beginning of the month on October 2nd. Just gives you more momentum with things in your local neighborhood, with your siblings, especially with anything to do with trips and travel. It's just a new kind of, okay, to the end of the year, things go powerfully better in that area of my life, and they won't be so stalled as they have been during the retrograde. Who else do I need to talk about? Venus is out of bounds October 9th to November 5th in the sign of Sagittarius. And she's out of bounds longer than that, but this is where she's affecting you in the house of your muse, your inspiration, and your romance. Now, if you're in a sexual relationship, this can be some wildly great sex, by the way. It could go like, oh, exceed your expectations. It also can mean that a new romance starts as wildly out of bounds, like with somebody you would never be with normally, outside the bounds of the kind of person you're attracted to. It could also be a money speculative endeavor, placing a bet, trying to win a lottery ticket. Now, I don't know, Venus out of bounds in the house of gaming and winning through speculation like lotteries could be a very positive thing. You could have some unexpected money luck or a great financial gain while she's out of bounds. And don't forget, she's unpredictable. So I can't really tell you how she's going to give you the wild child outcome here. But I'm not too concerned. Venus has quite the affinity with the 5th house. Okay, it's the house of her joy, and she's out of bounds there. She might just be taking off the restrictions to giving you great financial and sex success and crazy ass goodness there. If you're inspired type, like you're an artist, a musician, a creator, then your muse is going to be on steroids. You might come up with like an out of bounds tune or out of bounds poem or written project or painting that just doesn't even resemble anything you've done before, but holy moly, will it bring some goodness right into your life, because she is Venus in the house of her joy. So pay attention to that as well. Lastly, lucky day of the month, October 15th, there's a Sun in Libra, trining Jupiter in the 4th house. This could, for you, definitely be about mortgages and money and developments around real estate. that have good developments mid-October. And then later on at the last of the month, Mercury in your 12th house can also be bringing you some good developments in the real estate story as well. And backroom dealings and negotiations is 12th house. So Mercury is like negotiating things in the back room, and he trines Jupiter on October 31st. Happy Halloween, breakthroughs in real estate developments for you. Good luck in and from the home at that time. All right, thank you, Scorpio, for listening. Oh, I thought I wasn't recording. I am recording. Yay. All right. We're coming to the finish line, coming around the bend here. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is the month for you where Jupiter, your lord of your ascendant, or the lord of your sun and moon in a Sagittarius, is going to turn around from a retrograde that started June the 21st. That's probably the most important thing you need to know. This is simply to say, you're going to have forward momentum and good developments, luck and opportunity in your third house, trips and travel and neighborhood events and siblings and aunts and uncles and online learning or teaching. All these areas just open up and start to flow. And certainly, you know, he'll be in this part of your chart till the end of the year. So this is where a lot of juice and a lot of goodness happens. And for some of you, if you've been stalled for travel and you wanted to take these trips, you've been hoping to travel, maybe the borders have opened now and things are moving forward, especially in COVID. Also, for some of you Sagittarius, this could be a positive new direction with a sibling. If there's been problems or tension, things will turn around. Saturn is lending support to that narrative because he does go direct in the same part of your chart that Jupiter does earlier in the month, right? On October the 10th, 11th. And that also says things that were stuck, that were too serious, where there was like shackles of Saturnian constraint, loosen up and open up in sibling relationships. And this sometimes applies to aunts, uncles, cousins as well. Extended family. All right, so next, I think I need water. Next, give me a drink. Give me a minute. What do I want to talk about? Mercury on the 18th of October will also, same day as Jupiter, go direct. I love that both of them trying each other going direct. Jupiter will be going direct in your 11th house of good spirit. This can bring you some financial gain and opportunities from your career, new messages, brokering contracts and negotiations, agreements that bring you great gain in your career path. Good news in the area of hopes, dreams, and wishes as well. If you had a hope for something to happen, good news may emerge. Mercury goes direct. You've been revising stuff though, September 27th to October 18th in that area of your chart. You know, there's a retrogradation ongoing. So, you may have been looking at ways to, you know, negotiate something to do with the work situation, because the 11th house is connected to the 10th house of career. And then the breakthrough momentum will likely show up around those negotiations in your favor mid-October onward. October 18th onward. Pluto goes direct in Capricorn October 2nd. And so that also gives you more financial goodness as financial gain and goodness starts to heat up, all right, in your second house on the 2nd of October. So you're going to have more power and Pluto power around possessions, earnings, and money. Okay, Sagittariuses. Mars will be reborn in the heart of the sun on October the 7th. He gets his rebirth in Libra. Libra in your chart is that 11th house of great gains. Now, Mars is invisible, and he's been invisible since the 3rd week of August, and he'll be invisible till the 3rd week of November. Simply to say, the promise may not fully be realized until after November 24th, but his rebirth is opening up a gateway for great gains, right? Great gains in the house of the 11th house usually comes from the career path, financial gains from the rewards, awards from the career that you're on, a promotion, a recognition, a bonus, an advancement, that kind of thing, more money, an upgrade. So look for that rebirth October 7th to be offering that. However, October 5th to 10th, try not to make any major decisions, right, regarding your career. You might not be able to see clearly. Mars is invisible, deeply invisible, as he's dying and being reborn. And he does make choices and decisions, and he doesn't necessarily make them that well anyway in Libra, let alone being invisible in the sky. So hold off on major career decisions, money decisions, etc., until after he's visible, if you can, but certainly until after the 10th of October, when he's not deeply burned up and crispy in the heart of the sun. All right, finally, Venus is out of balance. She's the goddess of love and money, among other things, and she's going to be acting like a wild child October 9th to November 5th in the sign of Sagittarius. Now, this is the house of your body, so please be cautious about cosmetic procedures, hairdos, new wardrobes, or changes to your physical form. Out of bounds could have exceedingly good results or exceedingly terrible results. So hold off on that. I would not do cosmetic surgery with Venus out of bounds in the house of your body. You could definitely, though, be extra charismatic, persuasive, and charming. You can get what you desire beyond what you expect. You can actually have the seduction power of the, of a siren. When she's out of bounds, she could give you that much juice there. So you're over the top seductive. So you might get what you want by choosing to persuade, right? Charm, convince, and seduce people so that they want to do what you want for you. So you have a little bit more charm than you normally do. So keep that in mind, Sagittarius. Then lastly, the lucky day of the month, October 15th, Jupiter will trine Venus. Jupiter will trine, Sun will trine Jupiter. So that's Sun in Libra in your 11th house of great gains from your career. And the Sun trines Jupiter in Aquarius, the third house of the local things, online world, siblings. I'm not sure, trips and travel. Some of that stuff, it could be really good financial breakthrough going on the October 15th regarding those themes of siblings and travels and trips and education, learning, skills-based learning. And at the end of the month, Mercury will, and still in Libra, of course, will be on Halloween Day, in a trine to Jupiter. And that could be good news, phone calls or emails kind of thing coming to you in or through groups of people, friendships, or environments that connect to your work regarding things to do with trips and travel and local events. It could be as simply as fun as on Halloween night, you get an invitation to go to a big gala thing in the neighborhood sponsored by your worker, your employer. But it's kind of a sweet spot at the end of the month. Okay, thanks for listening, Sag. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign, you're experiencing the energy of, who do I want to focus on first? Let's focus on Mars for you, because Mars is the exaltation lord of Capricorn. So you have an affinity, Capricorn, for Mars. You like to give him the VIP treatment. You want to honor him. You like to raise him up on high. So Capricorns, you have an affinity for Mars, okay? And so Mars is going to die and be reborn on October 7th in the heart of the sun. And this rebirth, this is happening in the sign of Libra. That's your 10th house of your career and your work and your attainment and your ambition and your success in the world. And so you're having a rebirth here. And it's possible that this would be a 2-year story, that like what is being reborn this October will apply to a sense of renewal and rebirth over the next 2 years. Now, this energy of this rebirth is also such that between October 5th and 10th, you should try not to make major decisions about things to do with your work and just hold off a little bit, because Mars is like deeply burned up and he's like invisible. I'm not too sure he can really help you out right then, right? Wait a little, wait till after the 10th of October. After the 10th of October, he's going to become slowly visible. And by November 30th, he is visible. And his visibility is in your house of great gains, your 11th house, Scorpio. So I think, so Capricorn, what you need to do is you need to know that you're having a renewal and a rebirth in this career zone, and that it will bring you some great gains financially as well over the longer course of the next 2 years. And expect momentum really beginning in the 3rd week of October regarding these themes. Okay. What else? Jupiter is going to go direct the same day as Mercury, and in the same place that Saturn goes direct, which is Aquarius. And this is all going to happen in your Aquarius house for the Jupiter and Saturn of earnings and money. So if money has been sloggy for you since last May, when Saturn retrograded in your second, and then Jupiter since June 21st, and you felt like your earnings, money, possession story was really a challenge and that things weren't going flowingly and well. Well, thank God for October. So Capricorn, things are going to turn around. You're going to feel like suddenly the brakes are lifted and the gas pedal is going and things are moving forward. This is excellent for your resources and possessions of all kinds, okay? And it includes home, right? If you want to buy a home, it's a possession. Just things, money and possession and resources are going to improve. So one of the things I'd say is that Saturn here for the next 2 years until March of 23 is trying to build you a legacy story. I mean, Saturn will make you work hard for your money, but you'll be worth it. And you're going to find that by the March of 23, you've built a new financial foundation. So that's amazing, right? So keep that in mind, the longer picture. Jupiter direct, October 18th to the end of the year, is improving your money financial story. So that's yay, and it all turns around in October. Mercury going direct on the 18th of the month from the house of career after retrograding since September 27th means that things that you revised or revisited to do with your reputation, your status and your career and your house, your place of work even, will then come out of the story with potential momentum and good news, especially then Mercury delivering the good news, and possibly on the 31st of October, when Mercury on Halloween night will be in a trine to the god of luck and opportunity, Jupiter, in the money house. So something positive and maybe in your work and money story coming at the end of this month. Yay. And a lucky day of the month, just FYI, is when Mercury in your 10th house will trine Jupiter on the 15th of October, not Mercury. The sun in your 10th house will trine Jupiter. This can be a boss in your workplace or a superior or an authority above you, blessing you with some opportunity for your finances, middle of October. I need to take a voice rest. How do people do this long talk thing? I don't know. I need to take voice lessons. I need to learn to use my voice from my diaphragm. All right, so continuing for you guys, Capricorn. Pluto. Pluto is going direct in the first house of your identity. Just keep that in mind. He starts October 2nd. He's grinding away slowly. And as the month ends, there's more and more momentum as things go forward in terms of your identity, your body, your health, the you of you, how powerful you are. You are increasingly powerful as the month of October progresses. Finally, Venus will be out of balance October 9th to November 5th in the sign of Sagittarius. And this is a very secretive place in your chart. It's a house of backroom deals, negotiations, self-undoing, hidden enemies, dreams at night, karma, your imagination, your past lives. Venus out of balance here could be a woman in the back scene of something, negotiations or dealings, hopefully not a hidden enemy, excuse me, but acting in wild, crazy ways. The 12th house is a house of foreign shores. It's one of the two foreign lands houses. So is the 9th. And so a woman from a foreign land is acting crazy and out of bounds and wild. A woman is undermining you. A woman is negotiating wildly in the back rooms of some deal regarding your career. Since Venus owns your 10th house, this woman could be a backroom ally as well as a problem. Venus out of bounds. Love and money goddess in your money from foreign lands, resourcing money or businesses and money for businesses from international sources and shores. Out of bounds is unpredictable. It's extreme one way or the other. I have a good feeling for you, though, that with all of that goodness in the 10th house owned by Libra, owned by Venus, most of this stuff is good stuff. Venus is bringing you good out of bounds energy. I think I already talked about the Jupiter and the Halloween thing for you guys. Yeah, I did. So we're done. Hopefully, Capricorn, I didn't rush through yours. Thanks for listening. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. You guys are experiencing a lot of juice in that first house. I'm an Aquarius rising. Holy moly us. Oh, so, you know, Jupiter retrograding in our first house. Well, let's talk about Jupiter in the first house. You get fat. It's a joke. You get fat. You put on weight. Holy, did I put in weight this year? Jupiter entered our first house, Aquarians, way the heck back in December last year. He sidled out of there for a bit between May and July, and he's been back since July 28th. So, yeah, we put a bit of weight on, but he's been retrograding since June 21st. Now, Jupiter in the first house is good for physical health anyway. And he's also good for feeling positive and being leaderful and optimistic and taking bold chances and having luck and being lucky, just being lucky, being you. And his retrograde kind of slowed it down. Like, you know, June 21st until October 18th, he's been going backwards. And Saturn has been going backwards since May 23rd in our first house. And so May 23rd till October hasn't been easy for most of us Aquarians. We've been like, whoa. And I can tell you, I've been like, whoa. I traveled across the country in my car. I moved to a new place. I had to deal with 2 health problems and heal them. You know, it's been a challenge during the retrograde. And I bet a lot of you Aquarians have felt the same way, that, you know, you kind of say the 3rd week of May until mid-October was not the easy zone of the year. Jupiter retrograde, go back over old ground, things that you've been doing, teachers you've had, learnings you've had, lessons you've had. We've been going back since June 21st to revise, relook at, redo, things like that. And health protocols as well. I had to go back to an old health diet style because I had an autoimmune condition come out of remission during this Jupiter retrograde time. So Jupiter will be going direct, of course, and that's going to give us momentum. Saturn goes direct October 10th. Saturn going direct isn't going to really change things. He moves really slow. We won't feel that his direct motion changed anything really till the end of the month anyway, I don't think. But he's creating a stable foundation for Jupiter's direct motion. And, you know, Saturn's in our first house, guys, until March of 23. And so we're doing some serious adulting, sobering, realistic reassessment of ourself and our identity, okay? And I'm just getting an important message coming in. So for us Aquarians, I will pause. So what was I talking about before I paused out? Yeah, so we're having this feeling of our whole identity being given a Saturnian overlay of being really serious about our lives. Sort of a big grow up is happening here. Grow up, including being sober, like sober-minded, sober, like realistic, strong, masterful, wise, and sagey. That's things that Saturn can do when he is going through a energetic first house. This applies less to the moon and Aquarian sun as it does to the rising sun, but it applies to all of us in those areas. And, you know, one of the other cool things that I think is going on here is that because we are experiencing this in our very foundation, in our identity, right? When Mercury goes direct on October 18th, after 3 weeks of retrogradation, since the September 27th, but the 9th house is where a lot of this last minute action is happening. That's a Dharma house. That's kind of like the house that connects us to what our meaning and true purpose of our life is. And Mercury is trying to give us a message there. And that message coming through Aquarians will be clear and present, and like signals are clear, you know, Houston, we got the signal sometime after October 18th when that direct motion gets into gear. In the meantime, we've been revisiting, is this my purpose? Is this what I'm here for? Is this what I want to do? It's a house of book publishing and writing, publications like books. It's a house of foreign shores. It's a house of travel. It's a house of higher education. So some people like me, I'm studying astrological magic with Nina Griffin beginning this October. So it has to, and I've studied astrological magic. I'm going back to study more. So things you study and learn are going to be important, right? Because you're learning things that you need to learn to be on purpose. And so this is a story that Mercury promises, because he's in your 9th house of this kind of higher dharmic learning stuff. He's there until November 5th or so. So yeah, so direct motion around those things are good for us. I do like that Mercury will, at the end of the month, October 31st, beam a beautiful batting eye trine to Jupiter in our first house. This could be really good news coming to us from book publishers. If you're flying to get something published, foreign shores, contracts or agreements landing on your shelf to be employed by someone from a foreign land. The connections from foreign shores can be very lucrative around Halloween. And good news coming from educational things like you passed the course or you got an A+, or good news coming in those areas. I would also say October 15th, don't forget that there's a sun in the 9th house of foreign lands, education, learning, Dharma, also providing a juicy mid-October 15th breakthrough as well. So that's another sweet spot just before Jupiter goes direct on the 18th. Okay, Mars is being reborn in Libra in our 9th house. Well, it's a Dharma house, right? And October 7th, Mars goes into the heart of the sun. He dies and comes back out. Between October 5th and 10th, it's hard to get momentum or make effective decisions regarding what you want to study, where you want to travel, what your meaning and purpose of your life is, because Mars is dying there, and he's the god of decisions and choices. He's also the god of action and momentum. So wait a bit, let that rebirth happen. We're given a kind of a 2-year splash of Martian yay, that over the next couple of years, this idea of being on purpose, or this idea of foreign shores, or this idea of book publishing, this is a blessed area of the chart where we're going to get a lot of good Martian juice giving us momentum. Yeah, and Mars is in the sign of contracts when he rebirths, or agreements, or partnerships, or liaisons, Libra. This could also be birthing a passionate new love story from somebody from a foreign shore, or somebody in a spiritual community that you belong to. Who knows, Aquarius, what that could do. What else have I not covered? Pluto is going to go direct on October 2nd. In our very deep spiritual house of our dreams at night and our inner visions. This is just an inner power play. I mean, Pluto's been there since 2008 in our Aquarian 12th house. It's not external power, it's internal power. We've been internally resourcing from our deepest soul what power means to us. All of us Aquarians have been going through this journey. We won't know the meaning of external power until 2023, when Pluto starts to slip out of Capricorn into Aquarius. So we have become inner power brokers, resourcing our inner power, our soul power. And then we're going to show that to the world in 2023 when Pluto goes into our energetic first house Aquariuses, and we'll become externally powerful. Patience is cautioned here. We are powerful, we're just keeping it all under wraps. Finally, Venus is out of bounds, and she's out of bounds, and there's a saw out there, and she's out of bounds, acting like a wild child of love and money, pleasure and play, sexuality. And she's doing her out of bounds journey in Sagittarius, which means that it's actually a kind of nice place for her to go into her wild child. For some of us, it could be an incredibly positive windfall. I mean, the 11th house is pennies from heaven, and Venus is a goddess of money, and we could get like a crazy ass windfall. She's out of bounds. I'm hoping, I'm hoping. She's a goddess of love. You could fall madly in love with a friend who suddenly you're like madly infatuated with, because it's 11th house of social groups, friendships, and communities of belonging. Like I belong to the Astrology of Society of Astrologers. Communities of faith and belief and belonging. You collect together for similar reasons. Out of bounds money, out of bounds love. What else can I say about it in Sagittarius for you, us Aquarian people? It's a house of your hopes, dreams, and wishes, and you might have a spectacular win or a bit of luck in actualizing one of your hopes, goals, dreams, and wishes to which you aspire with Venus out of bounds here. Watch for women being crazy and acting unpredictably wild in your social circles, friendships, and larger acquaintance circles, because certainly out of bounds Venus can act out as much as she can act up. So, she can be super powered good, and she can act like really crazy ass stupid. So, you could have some kind of problems with some females in your circles of friends acting unpredictably out of bounds. What do you say in soccer? That's offside, right? It's off. It's just off. So, okay, moving on. I think I don't know. Did I cover everything? I think I covered everything. I don't think I missed anything. Oh, last but not least, is it Pisces of the world? This energy is happening for you in your natal. Sorry, I'm not doing a moon. I'm a bit delirious. You're experiencing Jupiter going into direct motion as a sigh of relief because he's the Lord of your sign. So Pisces, one of the best things this month is Jupiter's retrograde that started June 21st. finally stops and he turns around October 18th until the end of the year. Hallelujah. The Lord of your sign is going direct in the sign of Aquarius. Now, this can bring you big dreams at night, massive shamanic insights, wisdom, spiritual guides and teachers, because it's the 12th house. So it's very subtle, but very powerful. It's a spiritual time for you. It's a spiritual breakthrough time. So October 18th to the end of the month, you could have all your self-undoing, self-sabotaging, self-defeating shit can go out the window. Jupiter is trying to toss it out and bring in the new fresh air in the deep unconscious, your psyche, your past lives, your karma, and your self-undoing. Spiritual guides, teachers, and mentors, coaches and shamans, stuff like that can show up October 18th onward to really give you what you need to be forward in your life without self-undoing and self-defeat. And of course, Jupiter leaves at the end of this year, leaves your end of December, leaves your 12th house, enters your first house, and holy glory, you, I mean, you're going for it, guys. Pisces, yay for you. First 4.5 months of 2022, the last 2 months of 22, Jupiter in your first house is like such a blessed time. So you're getting ready for that. Saturn goes direct as well, supporting Jupiter's momentum, giving him a foundation in Aquarius. So Saturn could be, he's a lord of time and karma. He's going direct and he's going to try to maybe house clean and hoover up your karma. Saturn in your 12th house is the hermit transit. It's the sage on the mountain, the mountaintop guru, the cloistered nun doing her vespers or whatever they do. So, you know, Saturn in your 12th house makes you a bit of a solitary one, a loner, a spiritual introspective. He's going to be like that. Oh my God, it's very celibate energy. He's going to be there until March of 23. So some of you Pisces may be feeling this deep spiritual call that makes you almost want to go off to an ashram, but keep that in mind. As he goes direct in October, some of your ashram feelings might get stronger. Mercury goes direct October 18th in the sign of Libra. For you, the Libra place is the 8th house of money. Money that you own with your partner, your spouse, inheritances, bank loans, energies like that, other people's money that you can get your hands on. And, you know, you Pisces rising, especially, I mean, this is a Libra ruled house. So negotiations, legal contracts, and deals and partnerships around money and improving your money begins to show up for you mid-October onward. And, you know, Mercury, you know, he may have asked you to revise things to do with money and spousal money, but mid-October onwards, some really good news around finances for you guys. And yeah, I'm liking that. What else? Pluto going direct, October 2nd in Capricorn influences your hopes, dreams, and wishes. The big house of great gains from your career, karmic rewards. You may have been feeling since 2008 with Pluto terraforming your 11th house. That's a long journey, isn't it? You may have been feeling that this has been a really, you're having Plutonian transformation of your deepest aspirations and your goals and dreams and wishes for your life. You may have also had big power struggles with people because that's people you hang out with, your friends and other people. So, but it's coming to a close anyway in 2023. But anyway, it goes direct in your 11th house. And at the end of, by the end of October, you're feeling some powerful momentum around groups of people, influence, social groups and circles, groups of belonging, and your hopes, dreams, and wishes. All right. Mars is going to rebirth himself in Libra, the house of your finances. Again, that's portending over the next 2 years. Joint finances, spousal finances, agreements, contracts, inheritances, bank loans, could be real estate deals as well, because it trines the 4th house. It's going to be a place of power for you and a place of directionality. Don't make any decisions October 5th to 10th, because Mars is deeply burned and crisped up in the heart of the sun. October 7th, it's exact. But once he starts to get out of that crispy burn on the 10th of October, he starts to be much more available for you, but especially November 23rd, when he's visible-ish in the sky again, depending on where you live. But nonetheless, there's a rebirth in the 8th house in October, giving you money momentum regarding joint finances. Lastly, Venus is out of bounds, and Venus is out of bounds, Pisces, in Sagittarius from October 9th to November 5th. Sagittarius is your 10th house of career. Oh, I'm looking at the chart, not myself, as I twist my hair and move all around. Oh my God, I'm probably looking funny, guys, because I'm not looking at you during any of this. I'm looking at the chart. But anyway, out of bounds. Okay. Venus is the goddess of money, the goddess of love, pleasure, play, and it's out of bounds in your 10th house of reputation and career and ambition. Now, out of bounds, it could be a sudden breakthrough in your reputation and status in the world. You could suddenly get a viral hit. You'd be a little diva of fame, have some breakthrough up there. But also it's a love thing. You can be getting engaged. You can be announcing an engagement. You can be getting married. Status changes around love. You could also find some of you Pisces have the other way, you know, you were with somebody and there's a status change that you break up, and there's wild unpredictability in your status regarding love. And you could get a promotion or you could get a demotion in your workplace. Venus, the goddess of money, out of bounds, a high uptick or a downtick, you know, demotion, promotion, more money, less money, companies cutting back and they can't pay you as much, or you just killed it in your sales figures and you're going to get a great bonus. So money and love, unpredictability up there in the top of the chart. All righty. Last but not least, pay attention to October 15th, a very lucky day for your finances. The sun will trine Jupiter, and it could be money to do with loans and bank stuff. And lastly, the end of the year, on the end of the month, October 31st, Mercury in that money house, the 8th house, negotiations, contracts, deals, agreements, signing them. Jupiter, luck and opportunity. 12th house can be a money house as well in some ways. It feels to me about bank loans, agreements, and financial stuff going on. Very positive for you. October 15th, and then again, October 31st. Okay. I can't believe I did that. I'm going to literally need to, you know, I'm probably gonna get laryngitis. So my first time I did an all signs, you know, really in depth, October 2021 video. Let me know if you like this kind of thing, guys. Is it worth me continuing to do it as I go forward? Do you want the month by month all signs? Let me know, because I can do it. I just have to figure out how to make sure that I can time it so that everyone's getting enough time and I'm not on here for too long. All right, thanks guys. I hope you enjoy your October. Check the description box for my sale. Like, subscribe, share, comment. You know the gig. Give me a hand. Help my channel grow. I would appreciate it. Big hugs to all of you in the forward momentum of October.